Hey guys, Chris Atchison here from the Southwest Florida RE Group, powered by MVP Realty, team leader, and just wanted to do a quick video with you guys on what to expect during a real estate transaction when buying in Southwest Florida, specifically as it relates to the financial aspects of buying real estate in Southwest Florida. There's a lot of people that we have purchasing from out of state, from even out of the country, Canada, Europe, etc., everywhere from California to Alaska to Maine to Pennsylvania to New Jersey to Minnesota, etc. And there's a lot of misconceptions about how real estate works down here. And there's just a lot of, kind of new aspects to it. Every area has its own norms and kind of tendencies and things that you expect. So, if you've bought 6 houses in Long Island, New York, they have their own rules and regulations and state laws and kind of norms in terms of their deposits and things along those lines and how a closing goes about. That's typical for that area, right? But in Southwest Florida, we kind of have obviously our own norms as well. And I want to take you guys through some of the aspects and what to expect really when you are buying real estate in Southwest Florida. So quick overview here. The first thing I'm going to go into is price negotiations. This is always a big one, and I like to have these discussions with my buyers up front so that expectations are met. A lot of people want to know, how much wiggle room is there versus the list price, and obviously that depends on a lot of things, including what kind of market we're in, but I'm going to get into that. The second aspect I'm going to discuss is the earnest money deposits. That's the initial deposit, the good faith deposit. What can you expect to put down when you come down to Florida to buy a vacation home or a new primary home? And then inspections. We'll get into inspections thirdly, how they work, what the different types are, the things that you can ask to be fixed, etc., which is part of the fourth point, how to come out on top when in negotiation for inspection items specifically, okay? Defective items versus cosmetic items, right? That's a big distinction that people need to understand. The next one is the appraisal. That's pretty much, a standard thing throughout the country, even throughout the world. That's a non-refundable fee. We'll get into that. Down payment, that's a very, personal between you and the lender type of thing, and can affect your, your monthly payment, your private mortgage insurance, all that good stuff. And then we're going to get into closing costs. This is a can come as a big surprise to people who are purchasing in Florida specifically, because Florida is a very high closing cost state, and we'll get into why and go through all those items in regards to closing costs. So let's jump right into price negotiations. So down here, this is an analysis that my team and I ran on the last 5,000 transactions in Southwest Florida. Okay, so the big thing to notice right off the bat is that price range impacts how much room you can get off of the list price. So the list price is the price that a house is listed for, and sold price here, which is in the dark blue, is the house is the amount that you actually closed on for the house, right? So obviously the lower the price range, 100 to 200K, you can expect to close at about 1% below list price, okay? 200 to 300K, you can expect about 2% below list price. And then you get up to 300 to 500, you can expect maybe 3%. Okay, and this is normal for Southwest Florida. And right now in our market, this might be a little bit, depending on the property, a little bit conservative. Things are much closer to 100%. It's a very intense seller's market right now. So there's a lot of competing offers. So, when you get 10 people to bid on the same property, typically you can close at a list price. You can close above list price, right? So that's an important distinction here. And again, the big thing is, 1, 2, 3% is really what you can expect for a given normal transaction. In some places in North Dakota, you can negotiate off 15% of the list price, right? And that's the norm. Down here, that's just not the norm. And if you do an offer and you come in super low, they might just say, we don't even want to work with you anymore. I know you love this house, you want it so badly, but that was offensive. We don't want to work with you at all, right? And that has happened to me and some of my buyers. Obviously, I do whatever my buyers want me to do, and I'll offer whatever they want to do. But the best way to get the best price is to actually come in a little bit stronger earlier, so they they don't counter as intensely. Okay, and that's a whole other discussion that we'll get into. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is earnest money deposit. This is the deposit that you put in upfront right after, 3 or 4 days after the offer is accepted. They're very important in the eyes of the seller because it shows how serious you are about buying the house. I always encourage my buyers to put a big earnest money deposit down. Why? Because in my mind, there's essentially no risk because I do mostly as-is contracts, and on an as-is contract, you can back out within the inspection period and get your deposit back no matter what the reason is. You can do it for any reason you want. You can back out and get that deposit back, right? So why not show that initial number as a higher number, right? You put down 10% rather than 2%, and impress that seller, right? And you might, beat out some other offers that are similarly priced, but you just come in with a higher deposit number. At the end of the day, it's going to go towards your down payment anyway, so why not come in higher, right? So the next thing, back to this, 2 to 4% is typical for a mortgage, and 5 to 10% is typical for a cash offer, okay? Now let's get into inspections. So obviously the purpose of an inspection is to determine if there's any defects in the property that impact its value, or to find anything that poses an unreasonable safety risk, okay? Inspections are typically done between 2 to 12, 13, even 14 days after offer acceptance. The earlier the better, right? The more you inspect, the better. It's kind of like an insurance policy a little bit. You really want to know what you're purchasing, right? You wouldn't buy a car without opening up the hood and looking under that hood. Same thing with a house, but the house is about 10 times more expensive or more, 20 times more expensive than a car, right? So a very important factor here is a defective item, okay? What is a defective item? This is a legal contractual term, right? A defective item is something that materially impacts the value of the property, and different things are considered defective depending on the type of contract that's used and depending on attorney interpretation. So generally speaking, right, and I'm not an attorney, disclaimer here, I'm not an attorney, this is not legal advice. I advise you to consult your real estate attorney if you want formal legal advice. This is just my opinion. A defective item is either a mechanical item that is not functioning properly, or it's a structural, or to its standard, as well as structural components that cannot be, that aren't working, or they're damaged, or have some sort of water leak or water damage in general, right? So if the air conditioner is not pumping out cold air, or if there's a crack in the roof and water is seeping through to the plywood and onto the trusses, those are defective items, right? So these are the things that you should ask for as a buyer when you find you have the inspection results come back, right? You should only ask for defective items, okay? And there's several reasons why, right? So the other side of this coin is the cosmetic items, right? So a lot of buyers get confused with what is a defective item, right? Something mechanical that's not working, or a water leak, or a broken window. That's a defective item versus a cosmetic item. A cosmetic item is essentially the opposite of a defective item. It's something that a buyer, first of all, should not expect to be fixed, and they shouldn't expect credits for it. So cosmetic items are discoloration of floor or wall or ceiling, maybe dirty grout, paint chips, caulking, wear and tear, general wear and tear, minor cracks in anywhere, as long as those cracks aren't compromising the structural integrity of the house, or the cracks aren't letting in water or hot air. And then limited roof life, right? So if your roof only has 2 years left, that is not considered a defective item because the roof is still watertight. So what happens is a lot of people ask for, paint chips to be fixed, or the grout is dirty, so I want to get that fixed, and it backfires intensely. So they'll ask for the grout to be cleaned, and then they'll ask for the air conditioner to be repaired, right? The grout is a cosmetic item. The air conditioner that's not working is a defective item. So the defective item is what you should ask for to be fixed. If you ask for both, more often than not, the seller will get offended, and they'll say, this is ridiculous. I'm not fixing dirty grout. It's a used house, right? The house is 30 years old. And they don't give credit for either one. So you're much better off just asking for defective items to be fixed. So what kind of inspections are there? There's tons down here in Florida because it's a high insurance state. right? HOI, homeowners insurance, is high here, and that's another thing we'll get into with closing costs. So general inspection. First of all, formally, I recommend every inspection get done. Obviously, most of the time, generals are always done. I don't think I've ever had a buyer not do a general. Mold and radon, they're both pretty, you know, I would advise you to do both of those. You know, radon and mold are common. Termite inspection, you know, it depends on how much wood is in the house, how old the house is, and, you know, your visual inspection, if you can get into the attic or not, right? Septic or well, obviously, you want to make sure your septic system works, the well works. Chinese drywall, that's pretty much not a big issue these days. Most of it's been rectified, but just remember, these inspections are paid before closing by the buyer, right? They are not part of the closing process. If you back out of the deal, you won't not owe money to the inspector, okay? These are owed up front. Typically, your realtor will know a good inspector that gets the job done right. Any inspector that comes in super cheap relative to the competition is someone you should avoid, not someone that you should use, right? So somebody that comes in and looks at a 4,000 square foot house for 30 minutes is not someone that you should, you know, try to save $200 by using. You want someone that's very thorough, very, very detail oriented, that's been doing this for years and years and has a whole clientele of realtors that trust them. And you can ask me for who I use and who all my realtors use as well. So let's move on to, so this is what I was mentioning before. When buyers demand that cosmetic items are fixed, along with truly defective items, usually the seller gets agitated and refuses to fix anything, right? So this agitation, anytime there's escalation or agitation in a deal, that reduces the likelihood of getting the closing, right? There's no point in arguing over a paint chip in one of the bathrooms on the wall that you could just repaint the bathroom for $500 instead of, you know, on a $700,000 house. It just doesn't make sense, right? And people get very emotional about it, and they get really, really nitpicky, and they forget how much money is at stake here and how small that little thing is. And if it's cosmetic, it just ends up hurting the deal in general. Appraisals, obviously, an appraisal is a non-refundable fee, just like inspections, okay? And they're typically done after inspection, not always, but typically. And the purpose is pretty obvious, and that's, you know, this is across the country. It's to assess how much a property is worth that a borrower wants to buy, right? The bank is the one that assigns the appraiser. It'll be done usually randomly through a round robin type of rotation. The bank can't specifically select a particular appraiser to go out. It's usually they have several on retainer, and the bank will not lend money. The whole point of it, the whole purpose of an appraisal is the bank won't lend money on a house that the buyer offered more than what the appraisal said it's worth in terms of that market, right? So if a buyer, the bank won't lend money to a buyer who has offered a higher amount than what the appraisal was for a house that they want to purchase, right? And ask me if you have questions on this. In a seller's market like it is right now, appraisals can get tricky, especially from a listing side. But that's a whole other discussion, okay? Down payment, cash to close, okay? Down payment, that's self-explanatory. If you have a $400,000 house and you put down $100,000, then your mortgage, your loan will be $300,000, and your equity or your down payment will be $100,000. Your down payment, the higher your down payment, the lower your mortgage payment, okay? Because you're borrowing less, right? And, you know, you really want to be cognizant of private mortgage insurance. You don't want to pay, sometimes I've seen $300 extra per month because you only put down 15%. Once you hit 20% equity in a property, you don't have to pay private mortgage insurance, which can be really expensive, and you don't get anything out of it. You don't get any principal or equity, same thing. Cash to close. Cash to close is how much money you have to bring to the closing table in order to purchase the house on closing day. There are many calculations that go into cash to close, and sometimes it includes a lot more money towards down payments. It can include prepaids like insurance and taxes and HOAs. It includes lender credits, lender fees, recording fees, title fees, attorney fees, just all sorts of stuff, because there's a lot of work that goes into getting a recording and purchasing a property for a buyer. They don't really realize it, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes working to get that done. So closing costs in Florida, okay? This is a very important slide. Closing costs in Florida can be very, very expensive, okay? And I'm not trying to say this to scare you, but let's just start with why, right? They're exceptionally high in Florida for many reasons, the biggest one being taxes, okay? Florida has no income tax. They have no state income tax, right? But they have to make that up a little bit, at least, in a variety of other, through a variety of other avenues and through a variety of other ways. And one of those big ways, the primary ways, is through real estate transfer taxes. And transfer tax means you're exchanging, you're taking a house from one owner and you're moving it to another owner, right? And someone's paying, buyer's paying the seller, right? So that's usually, that's document stamp tax, that's intangible tax. These are big ticket items, right? In addition to that, homeowners insurance is higher in Florida. So a lot of times you have to prepay for a whole year of homeowners insurance. And in, South Dakota, homeowners insurance on a 2,000 square foot house might be $600. Well, here it might be, $2,600. Depends on how old the house is. Obviously, new construction, the homeowners insurance is a lot lower because everything is new and, just in a lot better shape, brand new roof, et cetera. But yeah, there's also, lots of houses are in communities. So there's sometimes there's capital contribution fees. Sometimes there's an upfront developer tax that goes into helping pay for the infrastructure of the community. And then in addition to that, there's capital contributions as well for some of the usually higher end communities. So all in all, you can expect about 3 to 4% in closing costs as part of any real estate transaction. If it's new construction, it could be a little bit higher than that. And if they're super high HOAs and high insurance and things like that, it can be pretty steep. But new construction specifically is usually a little bit higher, right? If you take out a mortgage, you're going to have all sorts of lending fees, and you're going to have one additional type of transfer tax, intangible tax as well. So obviously it depends on the type of house you buy, how old it is, where it is, what type of community it's in, if it's new, and if you're doing it through a lender or if you're paying cash for it, right? Cash, obviously, you end up paying a lot less at closing than you do with a lender because you don't have to pay as much in prepaids and you don't have to, just there's a lot of other fees involved. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I know I went over a lot of stuff really quickly, and this is just a very high level overview of everything. But these are just some financial numbers and, some things to expect. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, especially I'm going to send this video to a lot of my out-of-state buyers, even, people from other parts of Florida as well, because we have a ton of new construction here. There's a lot of lending, and the market's going pretty crazy right now, and it's a seller's market. So appraisals are coming into play, and earnest money you have to come in strong with, and all these things. So, but obviously all this is a person-by-person type of analysis. So I'll be happy to discuss your personal situation with you specifically, and we can get into what to expect and what to go through, and take it from there. And I'm going to just bust my butt to make sure you get the right deal for the right price. And I want to make sure that all the expectations are set up front, and I don't forget to mention anything while I'm out showing you guys homes and just focusing on the actual real estate aspect of it. So happy to help you, regardless of if you're 3 months out to 3 years out. Just give me a call. You can text me or call me on my personal cell at 609-634-4419. I'd be happy to help you regardless of your timeline. Maybe you're not even going to purchase, so that's totally fine. Happy to assist in any way that I could. And feel free to go to my website too. A lot of you guys are already on it, www.naples239homes.com. Don't let the name mislead you. I sell a lot in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Estero, and Bonita, as well as Marco Island, and even Lehigh Acres and North Fort Myers. But check it out. It's a lot more accurate and updated than Zillow. And yeah, feel free to call me, guys. Hope you have a great night, a great weekend, depending on when you watch this. And hope you all take care. I'll be in touch. See you guys.